The Nugent Commission of Inquiry has recommended that suspended Sars boss Tom Moyane be fired. A preliminary draft of the Commission's findings is currently with the President. The inquiry's also recommended that the appointment of a new commissioner be an open process rather than a decision made by the President. But Moyane's lawyer says the hearing is biased and unlawful. Eric Mabuza joined us a little earlier to explain why they take issue with the findings.
We were quite shocked that Mr. Nugent recommended as he did, because what he has done is really to undermine both the President and Advocate BAM SC. You will remember that the President set two processes, one the Nugent process as well as a disciplinary inquiry before BAM SC. I have no doubt that if the President wanted Mr. Nugent to deal with employment issues, he would have said so in his terms of reference. But he best left that to Advocate BAM. You'll also remember, Vuyo, that from the beginning, our complaint has always been about the double jeopardy that we fear that Mr. Moyane will face as a result of the two inquiries. Also in his ruling of, I think, the 2nd of July this year, Mr. Nugent assured us that he will not trample on the issues that are before BAM SC. You know, the next thing we hear is that he's made a recommendation without even coming back to us to say, oh, he's changed his mind and now he wants to recommend it to the President of our removal. That is quite outside his powers.
Should South Africa sell a stake in Denel to Saudi Arabia? That's the question as authorities look for ways to save the ailing state-owned enterprise. Although such a sale could bring about some much-needed foreign investment, it could severely damage South Africa's human rights record at home and abroad.
Earlier this month, government confirmed discussions with Saudi Arabia to sell a stake in state arms manufacturer Denel to the Middle Eastern Kingdom. It's unclear what the details of the deal will be, but South Africa is already exporting arms to Saudi Arabia. In 2017 alone, South Africa sold over 33 million rands worth of armoured vehicles, 110 heavy weapons to the value of almost 6 million rand, nearly 166 million rand in mortar bombs, and military software to the tune of 110,000 rand. The prospect of any deal is raising eyebrows, both here and abroad, as Saudi Arabia deals with serious questions about its approach to human rights.
Denel is in a deep hole, and this looks very attractive, but ethically and every other consideration presents the South African government with a huge dilemma in looking forward, which, with a deal that in one sense probably could save what is left of Denel, but would present South Africa with an immense foreign policy quandary.
But Saudi Arabia's war in Yemen, the blockade of neighboring Qatar, and the mysterious disappearance of journalist Jamal Khashoggi at a Saudi consulate in Turkey might just be issues the South African government is willing to overlook.
This is a reporting season essentially for all our state-owned enterprises. Very few of them come out in a good light that are saying that we are executing on our mandate in the way that we need to. So we need to then revisit whether the way we structure them understanding what the social mandate is versus the economic mandate is. Perhaps that's a question that's worth revisiting. And of course, until we fix the human capacity issues within the state-owned enterprises, we are never going to proceed on any substantive manner.
Any deal will need to be approved by the National Conventional Arms Control Committee in Parliament. And it remains to be seen if the promise President Cyril Ramaphosa secured for $10 billion of investment from the Saudis will also be a factor to consider. Nicolaas Bauer, Johannesburg.
When Week in One returns, we hear from cell phone companies and why they cannot lower data costs just yet.